Sup guys, welcome back to another low quality tutorial video. Eric here. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to play chords on the violin. After watching this tutorial, you will be able to play almost any chord on the violin. You'll be able to impress all your friends and throw away your ukulele. At the end of the video, I will be teaching you 4 chords that you can use to play simple songs. I'm basically gonna begin by talking about 2 basic shapes that you should learn when it comes to chord playing on the violin. I will then talk about some of the applications that you can have with respect to these basic shapes. Basic shape number 1 will be a G chord. Open string G, open string D, and a B on the A string, which is the first finger, and G on the E string, which is the second finger. Here we have our G chord. If you are pretty lazy and you don't want to play 4 strings, you can always play the top 3 strings and it'll still sound great. And this is how it sounds like. How can we then expand from our knowledge of this chord into other chords then? As you guys know, the violin is made up of the G string, the D string, the A string, and the E string. If we were to move these notes up by 5 tones, it would mean a D chord. And we could easily do that by just shifting our first finger from the A string to the E string. And this time, without playing the G string, but playing from the D string, we can play a D chord. So yeah, this is the first application of how you can use this chord, this G chord, to turn it into a D chord. And for those of you who might be familiar with barring, this is the next application that we'll be going into. So if the G chord can be transposed up by 5 tones into a D chord, then it also can be transposed up a tone, which is 2 semitones, or however many semitones you want on the whole fretboard. Now, taking A on the G string to be the root note now instead of G, which is the first finger on the G string, how we are going to play an A chord will be very similar to how we did a G chord. So the notes that we'll be playing will be A on the G string, first finger, E on the D string, first finger, and C sharp on the A string, which is our second finger. If you want a A on the E string, feel free to add that in. And if you realize what we are doing here, we are just basically taking every single note from the G chord and transposing them up by 2 tones into an A. Yeah, so this can be applied to anywhere on the fretboard. You can also play a B chord by starting on the second finger. So the fingerings will go 2, 2, 3, 4. B on the G string, F sharp on the D string, D sharp on the A string, and B on the E string. And if you were to play a C chord using the same shape, and if you were to play a C chord on the G strings, you have to play a 3rd position, which would create a lot of risks here. So do this at your own caution. Yep, and that would be a C on the G string, a G on the D string, E on the A string, and a C on the E string. 1, 1, 2, 3. These are some of the ways you can modify our basic shape of the G chord into any other chord that you might want to play on the violin. The next basic shape I'm going to touch on is the C chord. This is how it would sound. Yeah, so basically how you play the C chord is you put your third finger on a G string, so it's a C and an E on the D string and C on the A string. Yep. So if you were to bring this 5 tones higher again, it would be basically starting the root note on the D string, which would turn into a G chord. So 3, 1, 2. G on the D string, B on the A string, and G on the E string. And if you would want to, you could always play a G string, open G string. And you could hear how it's a little different from the original G string from the original G chord that we learned. Yeah. So what are some applications that we could go from here? One clear perk about this second shape is that you don't have to go all the way up to the third position when you want to play your C chord. Oh shit. Instead of going up here, you can just play it here. Also, instead of playing the usual D chord, if you're bored of that, you can always play a variation, and this is how it will sound. Instead of... So yeah, how you play that is basically taking the first 2 notes, the C and the E, and instead of that, playing it a tone higher. So it'll be a 4-2, a D on the G string, and an F sharp on the D string, and an open A string. If you want to add in a F sharp on the E string, feel free to do so. And that would apply for an alternative to A chord, to the A chord, sorry, not to A chord, to the A chord, which would be from the G chord here, from the G chord starting from the D string. You could be playing an A on the D string, C sharp on the A string, and an open E string. And you can hear how it sounds so much brighter, happier, and cheerful. And if you want to, you can always add in an A on the G string. So with these 2 basic shapes, I've actually just touched on the major chords. And now I'm going to show you how you can easily and quickly turn these major chords into minor chords. So example, for the G chord, or we'll just play the first 3 strings. If you want to turn a G chord into a G minor chord, just flatten the 3rd note, which would be the B, because G, A, B, right? So in theory, if you were to flatten this by turning B into a B flat, it would be a G minor. And for an A chord, if you want to flatten the 3rd note, which is the A, B, C, flatten the C, just pull your 2nd finger back. Same goes for D, the D minor. Flatten the F sharp. And for an E chord, maybe, flatten the G sharp. And that's really simple to do. For the second basic shape that we are going to modify, once again find the 3rd note of the chord. So in this case, a C chord. The 3rd note will be the E. And from here, if we were to flatten the E, we would get a C minor. Sorry. Yep. The alternative D chord, and you want to make it minor, just flatten the F sharp. Alright, now to some real stuff. So, we are going to be playing the chords to Jason Mraz's I Am Yours. First chord will be a G, open string G, open string D. First finger B on the A string, second finger G on the E string. So you didn't tell me and you bet I felt it. I tried to be cool. Next will be a D chord, open string D, open string A, first finger on the E string, which is a F sharp, without playing G string, without playing the G string. You're so hot that I melted, I fell right through the cracks. This would be a E minor, E, first finger on the D string, B, first finger on the A string, G, second finger on the E string. Fell right through the cracks, and I'm trying to get back. Next will be a C chord, which will be 3. So a C on a G chord, G string, E on the D string, first finger, C on the A string, second finger. Trying to get back. And that's basically the 4 chords you need to know to play Jason Mraz's I'm Yours. I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm yours. There are really limitless possibilities to how you create chords. These are just some basic chords for you to work on, and there are definitely more complicated chords out there, such as 6, 7s, diminished, but we can always leave that for another time. And yeah, I hope this video has been helpful to you guys. And if you got any questions or anything you want to tell me, just leave it in the comments below. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.